It's always a good feeling, man. Always a good feeling to be back at that facility. Great people, great time to watch some football. And yeah, listen, a lot of big takeaways today. A lot of good things happened on the field for the New York Jets, even though there was obviously one piece of bad news unequivocally that the team and the fan base is going to have to move forward with.
So let's start with the bad news. This was Aaron Glenn. I pulled this down announcing the injury to rookie tight end Kenyon Sadiq.
Had a minor procedure, so he won't be out of practice today. He had a minor procedure, something that he dealt with, and we knew about, right, going to his last year of college, and he dealt with doing rookie minicamp, and we want to make sure we get it done right after rookie minicamp, so he'll be ready to go doing training camp.
So he called it a minor injury. At first he said groin, then there was the follow-up on what type of injury is it specifically, what type of surgery, then it was hernia. What do you make of those comments there? What did you hear about Kenyon Sadiq today, his status going forward?
Yeah, listen, I think it would be a mistake to see him on the field at all over the next few weeks for OTAs and even mandatory minicamp. It doesn't sound like they're overly concerned for his reliability early on in the season, but still, we kind of talked about this with Mason Taylor last year. I believe Mason missed about a week or two during training camp, if I remember correctly, and that kind of stunted his development early on. Still had a pretty quality rookie season for a tight end, finished number one on the team in most categories receiving-wise for the full course of the season, but it took a little bit longer for him to get adjusted. I'm interested to see what happens now. OTAs are not the be-all, end-all, but the fact that Kenyon Sadiq is going to have to miss essentially 3-4 weeks of on-field work, even though it's not tackling, even though it's not advanced stuff that you normally get at training camp, it's still missing time with your quarterback. It's missing time with your team. So I think realistically, it's going to take a little bit of time for Kenyon Sadiq to really get his traction going on the football field. I don't think it's a wasted season. I don't think it means his rookie year is going to be shot. It's obviously bad news for his early year development, but it's certainly something to keep an eye on over the next few weeks to see how he goes into training camp. Is he able to jump in right away and take first-team reps? Does he need a little bit more time to get up to speed? All this does is ask more questions to when we get to that point in July.
Look, if he's ready to go for the start of training camp, big picture, I'm not concerned. But if it starts to linger past then you don't want to say, oh, no, this is not good, but it's not ideal. Again, you want him out there as much as possible. He was basically a one-year starter at Oregon. And look, they have depth at tight end with Mason Taylor, and they re-signed Jeremy Ruckert, gave him the extension before the year was up. But Sadiq is a major part of what they want to do offensively. He just is. Like, again, when they drafted him, someone inside the Jets building told me this is the best thing for Garrett and for Mason as far as opening up their offensive capabilities here. So to not have him would be a blow. Even if he is a rookie, he's still the 16th pick in the draft.
Yeah, listen, the expectations, I think, for a player like Kenyon Sadiq is a little bit different compared to the expectations of Mason Taylor as a second-round pick. It's kind of like if they had taken Tyler Warren last year, the expectation would have been that he would have to produce right away. There should not be a rookie slowdown that most tight ends normally go through, or Brock Bowers, if you will. With Mason Taylor, it's a little bit of a different story. You can give him that opportunity to develop in a slow way, and you saw the benefits of that later on in the season. I thought Mason Taylor had a quality rookie year compared to what he had to deal with at the quarterback position. So all that has to be taken into account. Kenyon Sadiq, his ability to play outside and also inside as a sort of tight end / receiver hybrid. He's bigger than most receivers, a little bit bigger overall, but he's got that speed to be able to blow by some defenders. So it's going to be interesting to see how that's affected early on. I don't think it's going to hinder him much because, again, we can talk about what I saw today at OTAs and, players that are on the rise or on the fall during OTAs and mandatory minicamp. It doesn't really matter until training camp begins. When the pads come on, the physicality happens, that's where these practices and these injuries are really going to start into focus. As you said, if he's missing a week or two into camp, it's a lot different than him essentially saying, I'm missing OTAs, I'm missing the film sessions, or I'm missing the walkthroughs on the field. It's a much different story than we're talking about right now.
Would you say that Sadiq is a freak?
Well, I haven't seen him yet on the field in the NFL, so I'm not going to go there.
Is this hernia a certified tweak?
I was obsessed with Sadiq, certified free, 7 days a week, certified free. Obsessed with Sadiq, certified free, 7 days a week, certified. Obsessed with Sadiq, 7 days a week.
7 days a week.
Certified free.
Shout out to Leon with the funny comment about the hernia. Look, I just hope he's back soon. I'm not going to freak out. The Knicks are playing for a championship next week, so yeah. I got bigger things on my mind right now. But I don't like hearing this. I don't like hearing this as a Jet fan.
And listen, it's never good to hear before he even steps on the field for legitimate practices. You never want to hear a rookie suffer an injury like a hernia of all things. If it's a hamstring pull, if it's something like that, that's a different story. But we're talking about a hernia. It's not something we can just oddly, gloss over and say he'll be fine. There's going to be a recovery process for him going forward. But again, he has over 2 months to go before training camp begins and really start to see what he looks like in this offense. So I think it would behoove Jets fans to take some time, give him that opportunity to recover, and then we'll see when the pads come on how lethal he can be in this offense starting week 1.
SI Jets reporter Nick Faria here. He was at OTAs today. Aaron Glenn spoke. Geno Smith spoke. Demario Davis spoke, as did Garrett Wilson. Before we get to any of the on-field stuff, Nick, what did you learn from any of those press conferences? Obviously, the big thing from Glenn was Sadiq, but anything else from the head coach and your thoughts on some of the players, including the new starting quarterback, Geno, who spoke today for the first time with you guys?
Yeah, you see the maturity in Geno Smith already. Much different player than when he was first here. And he kind of mentioned it. I've grown up. I've experienced things. It's helped me grow into the leader that I am. I'm confident in myself. Demario Davis talked about it. He's comfortable in his own skin. We could argue about the reasons why he failed in New York the first time, but he's a much different person, a much different player than that moment. And you kind of saw it in practice a little bit today. I joked last week, I'm very excited to see the forward pass make its way back to Florham Park. And you saw that in practice. They're pushing the ball down the field. That's who Geno Smith is. He wants to go down swinging. He's a quarterback that's going to take chances, throw it downfield accurately. Saw that a lot today. You saw the maturity and how he operates not only in the huddle, but on the field as well. So that's obviously a positive. But then Garrett Wilson today, I thought was probably the most important answer today. He's talking about Frank Reich's offense and his impact. And he essentially said, I'm going to look back on my career and say I loved this offense more than any other. And we talked about the ability to do their own things, the ability to adapt in the situation. When every defense shows something, it's not a rigid, this is the route you have to run, and this is what you guys need to do at all times. It's player empowerment. If I see something that I like, I'm going to take this, and I'm going to do it this way. And Frank Reich allows that to happen. That kind of player empowerment, it's kind of hit or miss in the NFL today. A lot of offenses like the Sean McVays of the world, the Kyle Shanahan's, it doesn't really adhere to player empowerment. It's, I have a system, we're going to run this system, and you're going to be open because of this system. This is a little bit different. This is, we have great players. Let's let our great players do things on the field that only they can do. So it's a wait-and-see game if it works in the National Football League now. But the fact that Garrett Wilson and Geno Smith today both adamantly defended it, saying, feeling really confident about it, early returns are really good, I think should excite some Jet fans who maybe were on the fence about Frank Reich to begin with.
All right, Asmaniacs, listen up for a second. No matter what you're watching, whether it's New York sports or any game you didn't plan on caring about, there's no better way to stay locked in than with PrizePicks. It's daily fantasy made simple. You're just picking more or less on player projections. That's it. No complicated lineups, no nonsense. Just you versus the numbers. And here's why I love it. Even if it's a game you normally wouldn't care about, once you got a lineup going, you're locked in. Every play matters. Every drive matters. Every at-bat matters. I've been mixing sports too. Maybe a little football, throwing some baseball, maybe some basketball. And now you've got action across the board all night. And PrizePicks makes it even better with features like early cash outs if your picks are hitting, the ability to mix multiple sports in one lineup, and you can even see what other people are playing and tail their picks. So if you haven't tried it yet, what are you doing? Download the PrizePicks app right now. Use code HMA. That's HMA. And you'll get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, it's HMA on PrizePicks. PrizePicks, where it always feels good to be right. Friend of the show, Antoine Staley, who joined me yesterday, these were his takeaways. Geno Smith was solid. He almost threw an INT, but was very accurate afterward. Cade Klubnik was perfect in both 11-on-11 and 7-on-7 drills. He was QB3 behind Smith and Bailey Zappi today. In addition to Nashawn Wright almost having an INT, linebacker Marcelino McCrary-Ball also almost picked off Zappi, but no dice. With Kenyon Sadiq sidelined due to hernia surgery, Jelani Woods had a nice day catching passes. So I think Antoine basically hit all the same takeaways that you had from being out there as well.
Yeah, pretty much. And I want to emphasize again, the passing offense looks a lot better. It just looks a lot better.
Well, I mean, what does that mean? They couldn't complete a forward pass last year. The owner said as much.
From a structural standpoint, not just the quarterback's staring at an open receiver and not throwing the ball. You see these guys are operating in the pocket a lot more confidently. You are seeing early positive returns from Frank Reich and how he wants to coach the quarterback position. It's having different ideas and different solutions for different problems on the field. When that player X isn't open or the defense is showing a different look than maybe they prepared for, how can we combat that ourselves? Being on the attack and not reacting to what the defense is doing, I think that's a very positive so far. And again, things are going to change. We're going to see a lot of different looks from the Jets over the next 2 months before training camp begins. But I like what I saw from Frank Reich today. There was the use of motion. There was the use of receivers all over the field. The tight ends were a big part of this. I mentioned before.
12 personnel, multiple tight ends out there.
A lot of 12 personnel. When he was the OC at Philadelphia, they had Brett Selleck and Zach Ertz, and they basically ran their base offense out of 12 personnel, and they went on to win the Super Bowl. Not saying the Jets' goal is the Super Bowl, but they look like they can be very, very comfortable with 12 personnel. I'm excited to see what happens when Kenyon Sadiq gets back on the field because I want to see what that looks like with Mason Taylor and Kenyon Sadiq.
If you want to have a Kenyon Sadiq jersey, make sure you enter the raffle by the end of the show. We're going to spin the wheel of champions, and someone's going to get their pick of a Jets first-round pick jersey. That is the raffle prize for those of you just tuning in. Make sure you click the like button. We have 300 people in the room and only 78 likes. The math is not mathing, so make sure you click the thumbs up button. That helps the algorithm for YouTube show this show to more Jet fans. First super chat I see is from our guy Lou B, who says, Nick, when did Sadiq get this injury?
It sounds like this was well before the draft because Aaron Glenn mentioned that they were aware of it when they drafted him. I'm not going to pinpoint exactly when it was. It could have been during the season. Hernias are really tricky when it comes to when you actually get one. So I very clearly the Jets were aware of it at the combine. They were aware of it in pre-draft process. And it didn't deter them because they said, listen, a small procedure. He's going to be right as range come training camp. He'll be perfectly fine. So I don't think this is as much of a concern as some people will take it. But certainly you want to have a tight end, particularly at a position like that, on the field as much as possible.
Have you ever had a hernia injury?
I have not, but my father did, and it was not pretty. Let's just put it that way.
M123 says, I had a hernia, had to crawl to the bathroom to pee.
It's not a pleasant one. And again, they could have waited. They could have said, we'll wait and see. Maybe just give him some rest, and that'll be enough. The Jets are being proactive here. Getting this small procedure done, making sure that he's going to be ready for training camp at 100%. That's all you can ask for. Getting Sadiq on the field as early as possible in this offense is going to help him in the long run. Mason Taylor, I think, missed about a week or 2 weeks early on in camp last year, and it stunted his growth at the beginning of the season. We didn't really get the full Mason Taylor experience. I don't think that's going to be a problem here as long as Sadiq comes back at 100%.
Super chats, cut the line. Trab writes in groin hernia, certified freak, 7 days a week. Is there a correlation?
Sadiq, certified freak. Just got off the John. Oh yeah, we're running.
Any correlation?
None at all. None at all. And I didn't actually see the Adam Shine clip originally, and whoever did that remix, I think, deserves an Emmy.
Ladies and gentlemen, super chats cut the line, which is why Derek's comment is being read right now. What was the most impressive thing that you saw at OTAs today, Nick? Also, keep up the great work. I always enjoy you being on the show.
Appreciate it. Listen, I got to say, most impressive was probably Klubnik, man. Again, like I said, early on, so I'm not going to crown him the savior of the franchise. Or
sounds like you're crowning him.
I'm not crowning him. I'm not doing it, but I'm being objective here. He was impressive. Went through his progressions, went through his reads, moved up in the pocket, was able to show his mobility, and made the right throws, made the right reads. This was a good day for the rookie quarterback. If he stacks those up, maybe they give him the backup quarterback job. Too early to say right away, but I do like what I saw from him. He looks like an NFL quarterback. He's not someone who just stepped on the football field for the first time.
Sounds like you're chubbing for club.
Listen, there's going to be no Deshaun Jackson prognostication. There's going to be no, this guy's going to be the savior.
You wrote an article talking about how he reminds you of Dak, or was that not you?
Well, no, what I'm saying is the process that led him there could make him the next Dak. But again, that's a projection piece. That is what the Jets are hoping for it to happen.
I would take Dak Prescott on the Jets. Yeah, that'd be quite the win for the New York Jets.
Are you kidding me? He would
to
easily be the best quarterback they've had probably since Namath. I think he's better overall than Pennington, even though he's a terrible playoff performer.
Yeah, I mean, Dak, look at his numbers in the regular season. They're unbelievable. He's led the NFL in passing before.
Yeah.
The Jets haven't had a 4,000-yard quarterback since 1967.
And the sad thing is when you count on them to win a playoff game, can't do it. Can't do it at all.
But here's the problem. The Jets can't even get to the playoffs. So I'll worry about winning playoff games when we actually get there first.
Oh, no, listen, I get it. But you're talking to someone who has a very estranged thought of Dak Prescott at the very least right now. So I'd love him on the Jets. I think he'd be second best quarterback in team history. He would be the kind of guy the Jets should go after. And the Cowboys should definitely trade him because then my life would be a little bit easier.
Wrong Verb wants to know your thoughts on Brendan Sorsby as an option for the Jets in the supplemental draft.
Yeah, this is a great question because I was thinking about writing an article about it. But if Cade Klubnik continues to play like he did today, I'm sure it's going to change the Jets' mindset of, giving up a potential second or third round pick for Sorsby, right? In the supplemental draft, again, we don't know if he's going to win this upcoming appeal. Texas Tech could certainly win that appeal, and this all goes away. But if Klubnik shows he can be a quality backup or someone that the team is willing to see what they have in him going forward while keeping the three first-round picks that they have next year, it doesn't really make much sense to give up a third or a second or a fourth just to see this college kid who was successful at times in Cincinnati, but we don't know what he's going to look like at Texas Tech. When the schedule is a little bit tougher, the expectations are a little bit higher. So as long as Klubnik plays well, I think the Jets do not need to go after a guy like Sorsby. If he starts to struggle, then that conversation is going to be added. But certainly this changes. The trajectory of this team change as long as Klubnik continues to perform.
Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. What do you want to know about today's OTA practice? Nick was there covering it for Sports Illustrated. Jets had an OTA practice yesterday that was closed. Today was the first open. Did you see anything, hear anything that also kind of piqued your interest? I know all you reporters, you guys keep notebooks of stuff that don't always make the article. So unload the notebook. Any tidbit, we'll take it on this show. We're talking Jets in late May, for crying out loud. What else can you give us, Nick Faria?
I really like what I've seen, and again, it's early. Minkah Fitzpatrick being in the secondary changes how quarterbacks are going to throw the ball against the Jets, particularly downfield. Last year, it didn't really matter who was the starting quarterback. The Jets were going to give up a lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns. Easily one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL. I don't think that's going to happen this year with Minkah because you see him already beginning to communicate well and get that communication well with his cornerbacks, with other safety players, talking to some of these younger guys like Malachi Moore. That leadership is very, very important. And I think it's going to be something that we don't always see on game day. You know, we're going to look at Minkah and say, well, he only has 2 interceptions. They need more from him. That's not just what Minkah Fitzpatrick can do. Fitzpatrick as a leader is going to be just as important in this young secondary, and you kind of already saw that. So I thought Fitzpatrick was pretty solid today in terms of the communication process. I mentioned Jarvis Brownlee, but when we talked to Demario Davis, this was kind of the other piece that I looked at. I was like, wow, this is, you know, they're clearly building something here. He mentioned Geno Smith and the contemporaries and the competition that go on. And I mentioned this again, like last year, it was overwhelming. The defense would win 70% of the practices, and most of the conversation would be, yeah, you know, we got to improve on offense, but by the time we get to week 1, we are going to be able to run the football against anybody, and we're going to win with our running game. And obviously that blew up in their face. You didn't see that today. You saw true competition, where the defense would make a play and get excited, and then the offense would make a play and get excited, and it would go back and forth, back and forth. That's what you want to see from a young ascending team like this. And I do think the Jets can be an ascending team this year if the coaching staff holds up. So, again, day 1 of open practice, we'll see what happens. But this coaching staff is all about teaching. It's all about putting guys in the right spot. I liked what I saw from Frank Reich's offense today. I liked what I saw from the passing game. The defense, I thought, answered when they needed to get an answer. This was a quality competitive day for both sides. And as long as they string those kinds together, I think Jets fans are going to like the product they see on Sundays.
New Q writes in, Nick looks ready for some golf, or he's going to pick up a shift as a pool boy / server. Hey, guys, can you bring me another pina colada?
This shirt was from my father-in-law at the Ryder Cup, and my hat I've worn for years now. I got it at my honeymoon in Santorini. Beautiful time.
If I send you a Jake Asman show hat, will you wear that at One Jets Drive?
I can't wear it at One Jets Drive, but I will wear it on the show.
No, I want you to wear it around Geno.
No, I can't do that, man. I got to be impartial.
Impartial? It's the Jake Asman show. It is impartial.
But you got the logo specifically. That's my concern.
No, that's the Asmaniac logo. This is just a bunch of airplanes. We'll send you the Nick one. You can wear that one. Garrett Wilson is pumped up about the Knicks.
Knicks one I could do. Well, we can talk about the Knicks one. That could be in the works.
Hey, here's the deal. Just got no chance unless you click on that like button. And you got to make sure you subscribe to the Jake Asman Show. You don't, you can get the out. Now let's go, Asmaniacs. We're built for this shit.